I think you don't realize how you're going to receive really bad news until bad news comes in your direction.
There is a moment some of us will inevitably face in our lives. The moment when our core beliefs, our values, are put to the test.
And it was as if someone had taken a vacuum and sucked all of the oxygen out of my lungs.
It would be an agonizing decision for Carolyn and Sean Savage.
People ask, how do you immediately make that kind of decision? And we were raised to do things for other people, and it's just part of who we are.
A decision that would risk Carolyn's health and take an unbearable toll on them both. But they saw no other way. In their eyes, a child's life was at stake. It began with a simple dream.
We knew that we would start a family right away after we got married because we wanted kids and lots of them. That was our plan.
A plan that started while they were college sweethearts in the late 80s. Sean came from a family of 9 children. Carolyn has 2 siblings. They decided 4 children would be the right number for them. But having that family, they say, would be the biggest challenge in their marriage.
Just based on my medical history, we knew that our fertility was actually somewhat threatened when I was pretty young.
They settled in suburban Toledo. Sean was a financial advisor, Carolyn a school teacher, and as planned, they began their family right away. Their son Andrew was born in 1994, a year after Carolyn and Sean were married. And the first time, no problem?
No problem. I carried him full term, so we thought we were in the clear.
But they weren't. It took 2 years and help from fertility specialists for Carolyn to become pregnant again. Then there were complications, life-threatening ones for both Carolyn and the baby. So doctors delivered their son Ryan 2 months early. He weighed just 3 pounds and spent a month in the neonatal intensive care unit. And yet you made a decision that you wanted to try yet again.
We did seek the opinions of 4 doctors, and all 4 of the physicians we spoke with said it was probably just a medical fluke. Go for it.
But this time, it was a 10-year struggle. Carolyn went through over 20 infertility treatments and had 4 miscarriages. Finally, they turned to in vitro fertilization. Their own embryos were created in a lab and were transferred into Carolyn. Their daughter, Mary Kate, was born in 2008.
And it was just such a miracle. Oh my gosh, that was a huge accomplishment for us.
And their family would have been complete with 3 children instead of 4, but for a promise they had made to each other. They still had 5 embryos left from that in vitro procedure.
Sean and I had discussed that we would give every embryo we created a chance at life.
So almost a year after Mary Kate was born, Carolyn and Sean decided to try for another baby using those remaining embryos.
We weren't getting any younger.
You're getting close to 40.
And
yeah.
We decided as soon as we were medically cleared that we would proceed.
In February 2009, 3 embryos were transferred into Carolyn. 10 days later, she went for a blood test to see if she was pregnant and found the atmosphere in the office was odd.
I noticed there were phone calls. Is she there yet? And I kept thinking, wow, they really care if I'm pregnant or not.
Carolyn ignored that odd feeling and went home hoping for good news.
And we expected a result by about lunchtime.
Lunchtime came. Any result?
No.
1 o'clock?
No.
2?
Nope.
February 16th, 2009. Sean Savage was at work and received a call from his wife's fertility doctor. He and Carolyn had been waiting to learn whether she was pregnant. The doctor told him Carolyn was, but she was pregnant with someone else's child. What's your reaction, Sean, when you hear that?
It barely registered.
Yeah.
I understood what he was saying, but it did not comprehend because it wasn't within the realm of possibility. It wasn't something that happens.
Now he had to go home and break the news to his wife. Sean didn't mince words.
I let her know. I just said, the doctor called. Really bad news. You're pregnant. They transferred the wrong embryos.
Just like that?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I didn't know any other way than just to deliver it right out.
I could not believe what he was saying. And I literally couldn't breathe. I just went, no. Just, that can't happen.
Yeah, what's going through your mind at that point?
Just that there was clearly no way out. We had no way out. I knew that immediately. I'm pregnant. There's a baby growing in me. It's somebody else's. What are we going to do?
The doctor spoke to Carolyn later that night. And what does he say?
He was calling to tell me that he was sorry. He was devastated. I mean, this was a man who had dedicated his life to helping people build their families. And he had brought us our miracle, Mary Kate. And it was such a hard conversation to have because I cared about him.
Did he offer any explanation as to what happened?
No.
Did you
ask? Didn't even ask.
Yeah.
Didn't even ask at that point. In fact, I didn't even think, Meredith, to ask, where are my embryos? He finally just offered that. He said, I can't believe I have to say this, but your embryos are safe.
Did he say anything about the other couple?
They didn't know. They didn't know
that this had happened yet. They were a patient of one of his partners in the clinic.
And their doctor, Carolyn says, gave her the option of ending the pregnancy.
I could have ceased my hormone therapy that was supporting the pregnancy, which was basically akin to terminating.
And if she terminated, Carolyn says the doctor offered both the Savages and the other couple fertility treatments at his own expense. But the Savages had already made their decision.
We can't terminate this pregnancy.
You knew no matter what, you were going to have the baby, if you could have the baby.
Yeah, after everything Sean and I have been through trying to have a baby, we knew that we had somebody's very, very wanted child. I just couldn't see taking that away from another mother. There's just no way.
But even in that moment, knowing that, how difficult it was for you to carry a child, knowing this one was not yours, you might not get another opportunity. You had embryos that were yours, that were stored somewhere that could be transferred. Never crossed your mind that that's an option for me, termination?
No.
It's not even something we had to really converse about. It was just that's who we are. We just value life too much.
And having made that decision, they still held on to a shred of hope that this baby might become theirs after all. You were hoping against hope that maybe they'd say, you can have the baby.
We'll leave you alone. I just thought, well, maybe, knowing that women have embryos they don't know what to do with, maybe they'll let us keep the baby.
It didn't matter, they say, that they weren't the biological parents. But 2 days after learning about the embryo mix-up, their doctor dashed those hopes. He told them that the other couple very much wanted their baby.
I actually experienced jealousy about a pregnancy that was occurring in my own body. That's insane. I kept thinking, why do we have to be the ones to give this gift? Why can't they give a gift? Why can't their gift be the embryo? Instead of us having to have a pregnancy and give a gift of a baby. But at the same time, I knew that if we were in their shoes, we'd be doing the same thing. So I really struggled.
While all this was sinking in, Carolyn and Sean had to figure out just how to navigate this unfathomable situation. There's this other couple out there. Did you feel we've got to get in touch with them?
We felt as though we needed to set up some mode of contact. They needed to know how to get in touch with us.
But for now, they decided contact with the other couple would be through their attorney. So they don't know who you are and you don't know who they are.
Yes, and that was all within 24 hours of learning the news. So we were in shock. We really felt we needed to keep this private as much as possible.
And it wasn't just the shock that made them keep this private. In the back of their minds, there were always the questions. Would this pregnancy threaten Carolyn's life yet again? And would it even last?
There was a chance that there would be a miscarriage. That was a strong possibility early on just because of our history.
And just a month into the pregnancy, those fears nearly came to pass. Carolyn began bleeding. It was caused by a blood clot, which was threatening to trigger a miscarriage. The bleeding continued for 4 weeks until the clot disappeared.